So it's actually been almost a decade now since the last original Mario Kart title, yet Nintendo is making more money than ever before on the popularity of the series. This 9-year period now acts as a longer gap than even the longest stretches between Smash Bros. Games. Mario Kart 8 is Nintendo's GTA 5. On top of this all, they've shown absolutely no sign of changing things. The Booster Pass was confirmation of this, if anything.
Why is this happening now?
The Booster Pass speculation is starting to wrap up and take final form with only a few minor questions remaining, yet Mario Kart Tour still adding additional content begs the question, will there be even more MK8 DLC? Well, in the last episode of the Rook View, I discussed all of this already, so go watch that if you haven't already, but I'll give you the big spoiler. A lot of this hinges on the idea that RMX courses from Tour might be used in potential additional waves. Spoiler warning, I don't actually think they'll add more courses at this point, even if 120 sounds like a great ending number. But I couldn't help but start thinking of another interesting theory while I was making that video. One that is baseless, but almost feels more believable to me. It'd be a way that they could fulfill and preserve the RMX courses without even bringing them to Deluxe. And you all have seen the title of the video by now, so you probably know what I'm talking about. We had new Super Mario Bros. Fatigue at one point, but those games also haven't had a new title in around a decade now as well. Instead, we at least got a spin-off of them, that being the Mario Maker games. Part of what made these 2D side-scrollers get a little bit boring is that they felt very cookie-cutter. Like all the levels could have been in the other games and all that kind of stuff. It didn't feel like each new one was that different. But with Mario Maker, they kind of embraced that. They're like, oh, well, you know, if we're going to have all these games with, you know, rather similar levels and all that, why don't we let you guys in on the fun? And I think the fan base, you know, kind of appreciated that. It kind of felt like a graduation of sorts. Like Nintendo themselves are like, you know what, we trust you guys. Go make whatever you want now. But needless to say, Super Mario Maker was a big success for Nintendo, which doesn't really come as much of a surprise. The 2D Mario games always sell. But one Mario franchise actually sells even more, and we know that to be Mario Kart. I always thought that the idea of a track builder in a Mario Kart game would be impossible to really make in game form. If they gave us too little power, it'd feel really lame, but if we were given too much power, we'd have a bunch of courses that even put the worst custom tracks to shame. People have wanted this for a long time, but it never really felt reasonable due to perhaps the difficulty behind it all. Of course, it would be hard to even build an engine that allows people to build tracks, but I think it would even be somewhat difficult for the users themselves building courses from scratch. Besides, they couldn't possibly expect, you know, normal users to do anything like texturing or composing their own music and all that, but then it hit me one day. The RMX courses in Mario Kart Tour are exactly what you would get if you went the Mario Maker route with Mario Kart. Mario Maker did show Nintendo that there was a market for this creative stuff though. But what made the game work is all the difficult work was already done for them. You see, Mario Maker had templates in the game. This could be, you know, broken down into, you know, the type of game if it's like Mario 3 or Mario World, but also the type of level, you know, your overworlds, underground, desert levels, etc. And I use the word template for a reason, because I did it in the last video also when I started talking about the types of tracks that came from Super Mario Kart. These just happen to be the track types that got remixed versions in Mario Kart Tour. When considering how the RMX tracks look in Tour, it's easy to kind of imagine a Mario Kart Maker where you could just choose between those templates. You'd have your normal circuit, your planes, your, you know, spooky levels, your castles, and it doesn't just stop there, it goes all the way to Rainbow Road. Of course, for the non-creative types, you'd have your default courses in the game that would just be the RMX courses from Tour, but instead of focusing on, you know, the difficult stuff as a creator, those creators could focus on track design, where the course goes, maybe adding some scenery and all that fun stuff, not the hard work type of things. 8 track templates would still be plenty of variety to keep it from just being, you know, the relatively simple tracks that were made in something like Diddy Kong Racing. And it'd be a way for Nintendo to prevent its users from getting a little too creative. Something like this you could definitely monetize also, but if you could play your tracks with your friends online and even time trial them and have like some leaderboards and all that, maybe it could be worth it. Really, I'm not sure how much I'd want it personally, but I can only imagine it would still be pretty fun casually at the very least. I'd be very interested to see if the players themselves could find a way to make SNES type courses actually interesting. Nintendo themselves already kind of made some improvements with the RMX courses and Tour in my opinion. It's clear to me that a service like this would not come close to surpassing the capabilities of custom tracks, but I think Nintendo might actually prefer it that way. Really, the greatest achievement this service would reach is just making creative expression more accessible. So that'd be pretty cool if it happened. It'd also be cool if they, just added this to Deluxe, but I think we're starting to reach the point where adding too much content in that game will make it impossible for them to ever confidently release a new Mario Kart like ever. So I guess for now, maybe this would be something cool to just have on the Switch. But let me know what you guys think. Could you see this happening and would you want it? Perhaps you just think it would be a disaster. But let me know. I don't have a strong opinion either way, and if anything, I just wanted to, get the hard read out there just in case. But the future of the series is quite interesting, I admit. There's a lot of different directions they could go after the Booster Pass. Maybe it's just a simple track builder, but maybe, just maybe, one day it'll be the one thing we all actually want. Only time's gonna tell.